Hey everybody, it's Sandy Lee again. What's going on? Or should I say, it's Sandy Lee the infertile. I should claim that. Uh, so my first video was very serious and very heartfelt for sure, and I wanted to follow it up with um, just some information about my journey so far. So, John and I, like I said, we've been married since 2010. And so let me give you a brief informational, educational overview of what IVF is. There's different levels of treatment for infertility. One being you can take like medications like Clomid, metformin, stuff like that. Once you progress past that, you're looking at what's called IUI, intrauterine insemination, and that is dependent on what's going on. So people that don't have fallopian tubes, they can't do that. They have to go straight to IVF if because there's no way for the egg to get to the uterus. It's like if the highways broke down, you're not getting where you need to go. So, and then after that is IVF, basically. So they take the egg, the sperm, smash them together, and boom, you have embryos. That's the technical terms, too. So look that up in your medical dictionary. Anyway, so, they have the embryos that make it to 3-day, 5-day, 6-day, whatever. Basically to make sure that they're dividing the way they should. They have the right amount of cells that they need, and that they look okay, basically, to transfer. Transferring means you take the embryo that was once an egg and a sperm that smashed together. Now the embryo is in a catheter, long tube. They insert that through the cervix into the uterus at the right time with the right medications, and basically release that embryo to go do its thing. Sometimes it works and the embryo will embed into the wall of the uterus and you have implantation. And then sometimes you have partial implantation to where, like in my case, twice out of the 5 tries, I was getting positive pregnancy tests at home, which, at first you're ecstatic. The first time, so I'll go back to that with the 5 tries that I've been through. But so if it works, you end up pregnant, and then hopefully you end up with a baby at the end of it. Not everybody does that either. So definitely IVF is not a sure thing. We wish it was, especially for the price we paid. Like, hello, you wouldn't spend that on a car to have the car fail on you. So in my experience, I did the IUIs. We went to IVF after I think we tried 3 or 4 IUIs and it just didn't work. There's not really any explanation. They think maybe there was scar tissue from my cancer surgery because they did kind of manipulate my other ovary to see if it looked okay. And they're guessing, it's it's science, but it's not a science. So they can't figure it out completely. So anyway, our first try, so you do the egg retrieval first. You take hormone injections. So here's the thing about us playing God. We are injected with hormones that typically our body produces on a normal basis. If they don't, they have to basically get it to the level it's supposed to be. I equate this to diabetics. Their bodies aren't working the way they're supposed to. So they inject the things that they need. So that's what we're doing. We're injecting the things that we need. So it preps your body. You produce multiple eggs. They go in surgically and extract those eggs from your ovary. Those are put in a petri dish or whatever they use these days. and then the sperm is either like the egg is bathed in it or it's injected with the sperm. They basically choose the best sperm, put it in the egg, and see what happens. Anyway, so the first time I did that, I had 19 eggs, which was really good because I only have one ovary. Out of those 17, out of those 19, only 7 made it to the 5-day freeze, which means they were the better quality ones that could actually be transferred. So 7 embryos. We implanted 2 right away. That's called a fresh transfer, and that failed. I took pregnancy tests before, the beta blood test, they call it, and it was negative. I knew it was going to be negative. I need that. I can't be surprised. Like, you can't call me on the phone and go, oh, by the way, your pregnancy, it just didn't work. That would devastate me more than it devastated me. Anyway, so I need that reassurance that, hey, this is probably going to be positive, or, hey, this is going to probably be negative. So she called and she said, hey, your fresh transfer didn't work. And I was like, okay, because I knew that was going to happen. Let's go. What's the next step? How soon can we do a frozen transfer, an FET? So we did that not too long after. I found out right before Halloween that I was pregnant. I took a home pregnancy test at work, actually, and my coworker, I had her come in there, and I was like, oh my God, is this real? It was the second line I had ever seen on a pregnancy test. I was so excited, bawling my eyes out, so excited. So I was like, okay, how do I tell John? Well, it was around Halloween, so I went and got 3 pumpkins, a big one, medium-sized one, little one, and I got like craft foam paper, and I made a little binky to put on the little pumpkin, and I set those on our front porch. One looked like him, one looked like me, and there was this baby pumpkin with the binky in its mouth. And when he got home from work, I walked him out there, and I was like, hey, I decorated for Halloween, and we go out there, and he's like, he looks at that, and he kind of looks at me, and I'm like, I'm pregnant. And he's the type that doesn't believe it until the doctor says so. So we go to the doctor a couple days later, get the blood test. It's positive. And then, so finally he believed it. So fast forward to our 6 weeks ultrasound. We saw heartbeat. We were shocked. There's our baby. There's its heart beating. And the ultrasound technician is looking, and she's kind of looking, and I could tell she's doing something very in depth, very concentrated. And she calls in another ultrasound tech, and I'm like, this is all we need. I've been there before. The ultrasound tech calls in another ultrasound tech, and boom, you have cancer. That's my experience with ultrasound tech going to get another one. Anyway, so the other one comes in, and she's looking at the same thing, and all of a sudden she goes, yep, there's 2 in there. And we looked at each other, and we were like, what? And the first ultrasound tech, she goes, yeah, it's twins. And we were like, oh. Super happy, scared, excited. I mean, all of the rush of emotions you would expect. And we went looking for cars that weekend. We were like, oh my gosh, we're going to have a car full of kids. We're going to have 2 kids in our car. So they won't fit in the cruise. Anyway, so we spent that weekend thinking about how we're going to arrange the extra room we have and how it's going to fit, and, and the vehicle and, all that stuff. And then, so I think, fast forward to the 8-week ultrasound, and this time we go in, and, of course we're all excited. I mean, we were walking on air. Ever since that positive blood test, just walking on air. And and the ultrasound tech, she's doing her thing, and then she just says, "It doesn't look good, guys." And we look at each other and we're like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And she goes, "There's no heartbeats." And I don't know. My ears started ringing. Things weren't making sense. John was not good. So, she's done, and she goes, "Go ahead and get dressed. You take your time. I'll get Doctor, and you can talk to him." As soon as she left, John broke down, which is heartbreaking. And he goes, "What happened?" "I don't know what happened." And I was like, "I don't know either." And of course, the doctors, they can't explain it. Of course they can't explain it, because it's one of those things. Like, naturally you lose, I think 1 in 4 pregnancies is a miscarriage before you even know you're pregnant. So anyway, so we go in and we talk to the doctor, and his thought was that they were the highest risk type of twins. They're called mono twins. So they have the same placenta, the same amniotic sac. They're all contained, so they're sharing everything. It's like having a fridge with only one of everything. Only one kid gets this, and then maybe this kid doesn't get this. So they're basically trying to share everything, and it's just high risk. I don't know exactly all the details with that, but anyway. So that was our first experience with complete and utter devastation. Besides cancer, with cancer, you're one of us is happy. Well, no, that's not true. One of us is sick and the other one's healthy, and you have, it's all on one person to support the two of you. But, with this, we had each other and we were both ecstatic, and then breaking the news to family, because we were excited. We told, quite a few people about it. And lesson learned, don't go bragging about your pregnancy before you get to a point where it's safe. And then we tried again. A little while later, I think we took a few months off. I had to have a D&C and all that, so I think we transferred again, another frozen transfer in. It would have been April, I think. So and that worked. In April, we transferred 2 embryos again, so now we're down to 6 that we've used. 2 for the fresh that failed, 2 for the twins. And then 2 for this one. And we got pregnant again. Cautiously ecstatic again. We went through everything a normal pregnancy, would go through. I was craving things. I was sick all the time. I was nauseous, but I was so thankful for that nauseousness. I would go to Rally's and get Rally French fries and a strawberry shake and down it on my way home. And then as soon as I walked through the back door, I puked it all up. And I was laughing, almost laughing as I'm finished puking, because it felt so like such a blessing to be pregnant again and getting to this point. So a week before we were going to announce, we had John's sister-in-law take pictures. She's a photographer, so we had our announcement pictures taken. You line up all your IVF needles and vials and and all that stuff and the ultrasounds, and we have a little onesie and took all those pictures and super excited. Oh gosh, I was the heaviest I'd ever been. I looked like, just so bloated. I don't know. I looked horrible in my opinion, but hell, I was pregnant. I didn't care. Anyway, so we get to the night before we were going to announce. The next day would be Father's Day. That was the plan. We were going to announce on Father's Day. So I had a home Doppler. It's a little thing where you can hear the baby's heartbeat. And I'd found it so many times, and oh my God, that sound is amazing. Amazing. So there was a span of about 4 or 5 days where I couldn't find the heartbeat. John tried, I tried, and we were like, well, she's, I say she now, but, well, they're probably just hiding, and, sometimes it's difficult to hear it, blah, blah, blah. But the night before we were going to announce, I told John, I said, I have to know before we announce it to the world what's going on. So we go into the ER. A woman who is 27, 28 weeks pregnant, doctor, comes in, and she's, we're talking about our pregnancies. And the ultrasound tech comes in, and she's chatty, and then she starts doing her ultrasound, and then she doesn't really talk too much after that. And I'm looking at the screen, and I'm like, that doesn't look good. Because with an ultrasound, when they turn the colors on, you can see blue and red where blood flow should be, and I just saw this big blob of gray right in the middle. I knew at that point it was not good. So she goes out, and I look at John, and I go, John, be prepared. It's not good. It's not. And he goes, well, let's see what the doctor says. So the doctor comes in, confirms that the baby stopped growing about 6 days ago, which is when I stopped finding the heartbeat. And that was baby number 3 waiting for us in heaven. And it's devastating. It's horrible. So I committed to change. I knew that I didn't do anything wrong, but I wasn't going to leave this in the hands of fate, so to speak. I went and started a health program. I gave up gluten and dairy and sugar and caffeine and alcohol and all those things that they told me to give up. I lost 50 pounds. I felt great. We had 1 embryo left, and I knew for certain that this was going to be it. Well, it wasn't. We transferred. I was getting very, very light positive pregnancy test, and they call that a chemical pregnancy. So my beta blood test was 0.8, which is basically you're not even pregnant. So we regrouped, and I think I'm going to cut off there for now. I'll put everything else in another video. So thanks for watching. This was a little bit of a tearjerker, even for me. I didn't expect to get emotional, but that's what this is. I mean, it's full of emotion, full of it. But thanks again for watching. I promise that I'm going to put some happy, funny videos up eventually. Just give me time. I'll get there, and I'll put that on there, because I don't want to be depressing all the time. I am not depressing. I am a happy person. It's just those moments of my life, and a timeline from here to there. There are blips of, just things that make me who I am, of course. But I really had to work through them. Just like I feel like everybody who's battling infertility and cancer and any type of illness that they have no control over. But anyway, so I'm Sandy Lee, Miss Infertile. For now, I'm still praying that I won't be forever. Anyway, so thanks for watching. Watch out for more videos. You can click subscribe below, and it'll notify you if I put in another video. So take care. Bye.